Have you ever tried to read a book that's actually a library? Well, that's kind of the challenge of the Bible. Today, we're going to dive into the digital revolution that's put this entire ancient collection, with all its history and wisdom, right in the palm of your hand. I mean, think about it. The Bible isn't just one book. It's this incredible collection of history, poetry, letters, and law written over centuries. So it's less like a single novel and a lot more like an entire library from the ancient world. How do you even begin to find your way around in a place that huge and complex? And the scale we're talking about is just immense. The standard Protestant canon alone has 66 different books. Can you imagine trying to trace a single idea from the very first page of Genesis all the way to the last page of Revelation? For centuries, that was a massive undertaking. And that sheer size is exactly why digital tools have become such a game changer. So here's our roadmap for this explainer. We'll kick things off with what I call the ancient library problem. Then we'll see how reading has changed in the digital age. After that, we're going to open up the scholar's digital toolbox, look at how these tools help build daily habits, and finally, help you figure out if a website, an app, or software is the right fit for you. All right, let's start with the ancient library problem. Before we had computers, what did it actually take to study this material in a really deep, meaningful way? Well, for most of history, if you wanted to do more than just read, you needed a massive physical reference library. We're talking heavy, multi-volume books called concordances, just to find every single time a word was used, plus commentaries for context. Oh, and you'd probably need to know ancient Greek and Hebrew. All this meant that any kind of serious study was pretty much out of reach for everybody else. So how did we get from that really exclusive, difficult world to where we are today? Well, technology completely changed the game, moving these texts from ancient scrolls right onto the digital screen. So what's the single biggest change for the average reader? Without a doubt, it's instant access to a ton of different translations. No more stacking heavy books on a desk. Now you can compare them with just a click. Let's just take a familiar verse as our starting point. This is John 1:1 from the King James Version, first published way back in 1611. The language is really poetic, majestic, and for a lot of people, it's the version they grew up hearing. Now, just look at the difference here. On the left, you've got that classic KJV we just saw, but on the right is the New International Version, which is a much more modern translation. You can see the shifts in language, the wording, the rhythm. This ability to instantly compare how different scholars translated the original text is an incredibly powerful tool that used to be so difficult to do. And the options are just staggering. Platforms like Blue Letter Bible and Bible Gateway have everything from the most traditional, like the King James, to modern paraphrases like the Message. You can even access foundational historical texts like the Latin Vulgate or the Septuagint. That's the ancient Greek version that Jesus and the apostles probably would have read. Okay, but what if you want to go deeper than just comparing translations? Well, that brings us to the Scholar's Digital Toolbox, and this is where things get really fascinating. Here's the key idea. What once took up an entire room full of books is now bundled into a single searchable interface. All those commentaries, dictionaries, and language tools that were once the exclusive domain of academics are now available to pretty much anyone with an internet connection. And just look at what's in this toolbox. You've got commentaries from historical figures, encyclopedias for cultural context, those concordances to trace words, maps to visualize the geography, and even lexicons to get to the original Hebrew and Greek. Now that last one, a lexicon, it's like a super-powered dictionary. It doesn't just define the English word you're looking at, it takes you all the way back to the original manuscript language, Hebrew or Greek, and shows you the full range of meanings that original word carried. It is an incredibly powerful tool for deeper study. So how does this actually work? It's amazingly simple. You're reading a passage, you see a word you want to understand better, and you just tap it. An option for interlinear or a lexicon pops up, you select it, and boom. Instantly you see the original Greek or Hebrew word, its definition, and a list of every other place it shows up. A research project that used to take hours can now be done in seconds. Now, these tools aren't just for that deep academic-style study. They're also designed to help people weave this stuff into their daily lives. So let's look at the shift from intensive study to daily practice. So to make that happen, platforms like YouVersion and Bible Gateway have built-in features for daily engagement. You can get a verse of the day sent to your phone, follow reading plans that guide you through the Bible in a year, get devotionals in your email, listen to audio Bibles on your commute, or even pull up curated verse lists on topics like peace or hope. And here's a perfect example of that verse of the day feature, pulled right from Blue Letter Bible. It's a really simple but effective way to present just a single piece of text for reflection, delivered right to your device each morning. It's all about creating a consistent habit. Okay, so with all of these options out there, a pretty practical question comes up. Which platform is right for you? And that brings us to our final section, deciding between a website, an app, or some dedicated software. You know, these digital tools generally fall into three main categories, and one isn't definitively better than the others. They're just designed for different purposes. It's all about finding the right fit for what you want to do. This table breaks it down nicely. First, you have websites, like Bible Gateway. Their big strength is you can get to them from any device, and they have really powerful search tools. Then you've got mobile apps, like YouVersion, which are perfect for studying anywhere and building those daily habits with reminders. And finally, there's dedicated desktop software like eSword, which is built for serious users who want deep customization and the ability to work completely offline. So what's the bottom line? Technology has taken what was once an inaccessible ancient library, locked away in monasteries, and placed it directly on the scholar's desk, the student's tablet, and the commuter's phone. The barrier to entry for deep, personal study has been almost completely erased. And this all leaves us with a really fascinating question to think about. As technology keeps evolving, from search algorithms to AI, this transformation is far from over. It makes you wonder, what's the next chapter, not just for this text, but for how we access and interact with all of human history?